Well, hello there. It is Martin Luther King Day, Monday, and it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's 57 degrees, but feels like it's almost 70. I don't know why. Maybe because I have the heat on a little bit in my car. I don't know, or it's just not freezing like it normally is lately in Florida. But had an interesting thing. I was driving on Okaloosa Island, and all of a sudden there was traffic on the westerly lane, and something told me not to honk. There was like 6 cars in my lane, on the right-hand lane. They were sitting there, and there was a truck just stopped. A commercial truck. I don't know, it was a moving truck or what that was. And then I saw another car that was on the right-hand side with a whole bunch of bicycles on the back of it. And so I'm sitting there waiting, and I mean, you know, the traffic's incredible coming from Destin. So when that's stopped right there, it just loads it up with hundreds of cars pretty quickly. So, and you know, you can't get off on the right side of the road and drive over that. It's illegal to drive off that easement. So I thought I'd just kind of wait it out. And trust me, I wanted to honk like 3 times, but I didn't. I just had the feeling that that wasn't necessary at this time. So finally, a couple cars start going through, and then there is a little black car that almost looked, well, the position it was in, I don't know if it had been moved, but it looked like it drove over the intersection, or was attempting to make a left-hand turn and pulled into the road. And the person was just laying in there still, it looked like. Almost like they'd had a heart attack or died in there. It was really strange. And these 2 guys were out there, and they suddenly decided to push the car out of the road into the sand and cross the 2 lanes. I guess they didn't tell anybody to stop, because a lady almost drove into them when they were moving that car. And they were screaming as I was driving by, because it's like, whoa, you know, you should have told people that you were going to move. Because then they just don't move their car, and then nobody else drives through there. But that was really creepy, because all of a sudden the cars are just like rolling over into the lanes over to the sand. And the person didn't look good. So there was no law enforcement over there. There was one coming easterly towards Destin side, because Okaloosa County Sheriff's works like a really big area. And so when I got over Brooks Bridge, I decided to call 911. And so I guess it was a good thing I did, because when I parked here at the Publix, after about 5 minutes, there was an ambulance, and it was heading into town over here, and it was probably from that car thing. So there is a fire department right there on the island, but I hope I saved somebody's life, because it seemed like I must have been the only one that thought to call. You'd have thought there'd have been 8 calls before that, and even law enforcement didn't even know. They were like totally confused. I said, I don't know what's going on, but the person did not look good, almost like they passed out in the driver's seat or something. So, you know, I've seen that before. There was a guy that, well, several times it's happened. People that drive through strip joints. There was one in Huntsville on 431 South years ago, and they drove through that club and had a heart attack. Drove right through the front of it, through the parking lot and through the front of the club, and from the highway. And then there was another one out in the Dothan area, out at Night Moves, where somebody had a heart attack driving up 84, and drove right off the road, through the fence, through an RV that was on the property, through the liquor store, right into the cooler, and ripped all the cooler out. It does happen. It does happen. So, you always have to think about, what if it was you? You know. So you gotta have some patience. You gotta have a little respect. This guy sure has a cute little tang. Well, if that isn't a cute little tang. I said, if that isn't a cute little tang. Your car. I said, if that isn't a cute little tang. You too. No? The guy says, is that Teresa? I was like, no. Everybody always thinks I'm somebody. In California, it's really bad. I don't know if that's a guy's pickup line, really, or not. But I used to get guys come up to me and go, hey, Karen, or hey, Susie. And I go, no. Oh, I thought you were Susie. No. So, come on, Mac, let me drive through. Freaking tourist. Just sitting there daydreaming, I'm trying to get through here. I'm gonna go here because left is a waste of time and I gotta be pulled in both lanes like an idiot. Okay, here we go. It amazes me how people learn to drive. When I was in Oklahoma, I think her name was Jonna Daggett, a girl I worked with. And it was really like the name John with an A. It was so strange to me. I was like, her name is, how do you spell it? And I just couldn't imagine somebody naming a kid John, a girl. But she was real sweet. Just the sweetest, funniest character to work with. The other girl I worked with was a witch. And I worked for my Aunt Roseanne in the abstracting and title company. And they hated me before I even got there. They did not like the fact a relative was coming to work. And I didn't know anything about that business. And they sure made it hard on me to try not to teach me crap. Yeah, that was pretty sad. But I learned really a lot there, the little bit that they would teach me. Huh. But anyway, John and I were talking, and I said, man, the way these people drive out here. I had just moved from California, and I'd never really seen a place that had like dirt roads and all that kind of thing. And it was real different to me. It was very podunk country, very much what a lot of people said. I'm like, what's Oklahoma like? You know, because I was there back when I was like 11 years old a couple times, but I don't remember much of the area because I hung out at my Aunt Roseanne's house. It was like the airport and then Aunt Roseanne's. But people say, yeah, it's sugar beets and tumbleweed. And I'm like, what is that? And boy, I'll tell you, when they tell you that, that's like so true. There was not hardly anything there. Now today it's different. Mays County is where I was at. And it's a lot different, you know, today. My daughter and I drove through there just recently. And we passed it. I'm like, oh my gosh, where did it go? Because I wanted to drop by there. We had already passed it by about 30, 40 miles. And I couldn't believe it because it wasn't a big city back then. There were very few businesses there. And actually that's down in the city part of Mays County. Just, you know, a few minutes outside of it is just out in the woods kind of. I don't like that holder at all. Just put it right there. And so I would drive out to the lake out in Salina from Friar Creek in Mays County, Oklahoma. They people, the way they would drive, oh my gosh. They, don't worry about the picture. I laid it on the dashboard because it's filled in, or I don't like the cold. But anyway, it was amazing the way the people would drive, because I thought I was going to get run over in a really bad wreck, because these guys come through. Everybody drives a truck. Girls drive a truck. Everybody drives a truck. Okay. So I get this up on this bounce. Okay, very good picture. It'll be better than what you had. And so, anyway, they always drove like down the middle of the road, and it was really scary because, you know, like if they were drunk and driving down the middle of the road, might drive into you head on or what, and they were always flying, because a lot of those rural areas or country areas don't even have speed limit signs. It's like you gotta guess, and you don't see law enforcement out there too much either. And so, and they're actual, you know, some of that's actual roads. They actually have road names, and some doesn't. So I should have gone by that Circle K and told my friend about our homeless friend, and let her know that she is doing great. I keep forgetting to do that. But anyway, because I just drove by there. So anyway, I told John, I said, what is the deal with people, the way they drive out here? She's like, what? And I said, man, these people be flying down the road with their arm around some girl and going, you know, really fast in a truck. I'm like driving down the middle of the road, and I gotta drive with two of my wheels in the dirt, you know. And I'm like, what's wrong with these people? And she said, well, you have to understand, most people out here learned how to drive on a tractor. And I'm like, huh? Because I mean, I think a tractor's a lot different than a car. But actually, it is very true, apparently. You know, a lot of the people were farm raised or had to work on the farms because that's where the money's at. And so, unless you figure out a way to open your own business of some sort and peddle that, but that's very common and typical in the South. And even then, I mean, I wasn't in the Civil War era with George Washington or anything. It was like that then. And going to Oklahoma was like something out of Twilight Zone. I will always tell people that. It was like, it's really weird. It was like going into the Twilight Zone back in time. Because things were like they were when I was a little kid. Like gas stations where when you pump the gas, it would go ding, ding. You know, like every 10 cents or whatever it was. Yeah. And then, you know, the guy is like cleaning your windshield and airing your tires and checking your fluids. And you didn't see any of that in California for years. They were like, you know, it's all on you. And that's the sad part, because, you know, a lot of people are not terribly mechanically inclined, or they're afraid to touch a car. They don't know enough about it, especially women. But I've seen a great many men that way too now. The guy I was engaged to, Carl, God, I don't think he even knew how to check his oil. You know, he was like, I'll take it to the dealer and they change it, you know, every so often. And it's like, you don't ever check your oil? Are you kidding? Man, I always check stuff because hopefully I can catch a problem before it gets really expensive. You see what I'm saying? It's really important to know how to check the fluids on your vehicle and pay attention to noises and stuff like that, because it could be, you know, deathly. Some stuff can kill you if you don't get it fixed. So, I feel so bad for people that just, you know, don't know how to check their oil. They're like, well, you know, my car's smoking its eyeballs out, and I don't know why. And it's like, well, is there oil in it? Well, yeah. Well, how do you know? And then you reach over and you pull the thing and you look at it and it's bone dry. And you go, well, it's bone dry right now. When's the last time you checked it? Well, I don't. It's like, why? And they torch a whole and complete engine because they won't check the fluids. I cannot see to get through here. Ugh. I don't want to get sideswept. I made it through. Let's get in this other lane. I need to tell these Lenny's people too, because that lady used to sleep in the hallway over there, so that they can be happy for her. She's not on the street anymore. But anyway, but yeah, so it's different in different places, but it makes you smile, you know. You can't say they're stupid, it's just they just, you know, had a different way of growing up and learning and doing things and different exteriors. I mean, in California, you don't have, you know, like dirt roads and a lot of country and all. They build and build and build on everything. I mean, out in Ojai and stuff like that, that was kind of country. It was like people say, yeah, I'm from California, I'm from Ojai. I said, well, that ain't shit. That looks like here, you know. Because it's just a bunch of dirt out there. I'm sure today it's not. I've been there like twice in my life and it was dirt, but that was a million years ago. California, it's so unfortunate. They build and they build and they build. And the saddest thing of all, the last trip I was out there, I found that they were tearing buildings down just because they were old, because they thought they were poisonous and dangerous and they had stuff in there that was bad for your health. And God, if they wasted their time doing that in the South, there would be nothing left. And that's about what California's like. They just tear some crap down, you know. It was like the apartment buildings that we lived in with my dad that were really elite in Marina Del Rey. They were like stripping everything off of them down to the framework. I said, are they tearing them down or what are they doing? And they were claiming, somebody told me that they claimed that, you know, some of the stuff they were built with was not healthy. Well, God, you know, we grew up there. You know, is that why my dad got sick? You know, years later? I mean, whoa. So, that they do. They stopped one of the ice skating rinks from building because they wanted them to jackhammer the whole entire thing up and put it all back together, and it cost gigantic amounts of money. And it's just something they do. You have to do it their way or you don't open. And that's really sad when you purchase something for a bunch of money and then you can't open it. So I'm gonna go move some loads, I guess. It's a holiday today. And this place, the office isn't open very often. Somebody got a U-Haul right down there moving stuff. At the back gate. Let's see if anybody's up here. They're usually not. When the girl's here, she takes off all the time, but on the sign now, I think it says closed on Monday. Yep, nobody here. Nobody. So I will go in and get a little bit of stuff to move over to the other place. Because that way I won't get harassed today by that girl. I just don't like all that negativity. I'm just not in for it. Sorry. I don't find it entertaining. I'll park here so people can get in still. And I'll be out of the roadway of the mall. So nobody will drive into my car in an accident. Because the office is not open, so it's not going to bother them at all. Somebody will just think I worked here and be asking me questions like they do. I think I've answered 100 people's questions over here in the time I've rented here. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys in a little bit, and I hope you have a really great day. I love you.